Welcome to Uncontained episode 131. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and this week I speak to a Bay Area stand-up comic by the name of Mo Gordon. I actually saw him perform live at the Layover in downtown Oakland on Tuesday of last week, and I just thought he had an interesting set and wanted to have him on my show. On this episode, Mo and I talk about chasing your true self in your performance, the way that he networks, and the special type of networking he does called loopers. And yeah, that's all in this show, all coming your way. Now, it's time to plug in your earbuds, because this is how Mo Gordon lives uncontained. How are you doing today, Mo?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, Static. How you doing?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me on the show today. And I actually just saw you perform less than a week ago here, and that was at the Layover in Oakland, and I really enjoyed your set, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I noticed that your style was a little bit different than a lot of the other stand-up comic styles. Because a lot of comics are up there, just talking to the crowd. You were actually had a conversational vibe, like you were talking with the crowd. Is that typical of your stand-up style?
It is, man. It is. The style is. I like to come off as like somebody they want to hang out with, a friend of theirs. Like we're hanging out at a party, having a conversation. Like that's
okay. All right. So yeah, you were up there talking. There was some birthday girl and all that good stuff, and just it was kind of cool, kind of like just transitioning with the conversation in a way. So, about what percentage of your set would you say is written? What percentage is ad-libbed?
I'd say typically I'm 60-40 written to spontaneous. Because like I do have jokes I need to get off, but a lot of times you can break away from that. The audience will take you away from your set. So sometimes you will get out of that, but you always got to remember your place. So I'd say with me, I'm 60-40 probably, I'd say.
I was just curious on that, how that worked out there. So let's just start with one of the very basic questions. How did you end up getting into stand-up comedy?
How did I end up in comedy? Funny thing is, well, I've always wanted to do comedy. I guess, most comedians say that. Most of my life I wanted to do comedy, but I went through some pretty rough stuff in my life a few years ago, and I was in a bad place, and I was looking for an outlet to kind of speak my mind or let go. And I kind of was talking to some friends, and I did this crank call that I kind of it was a pretty funny crank call to a prostitute on Backpage. And,
okay, all right, that's interesting.
And I kind of just riffed the whole thing, and it was like a bunch of us in a room, and that right there made me feel like I think I could do this, so I said I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and then I invited a whole bunch of people. And then once a whole bunch of people said they were going to come, I kind of like forced myself into it. Like I can't back out now.
Okay. So what was the first show like?
I'm not going to lie. My first show was like one of my favorites. No lie. Cause it was so much nervous energy and anxiety. Like it just turned into this energy. And I don't remember what I did, and I don't remember what I said, and nothing was really planned. And so it was me, and that's like, I think what a lot of comedians struggle to be is themselves on stage. And it was 100% me. And that's why I love that set, like more than any other set I've done, like almost hands down.
Right. I'm glad you said that. A lot of comedians struggle to be them and put themselves out there, because that is like one of the biggest challenges on stage. I've done stand-up comedy before. I haven't done it for a while, but eventually I'll grab that mic again. But
please do.
Right, I will, man. I will. I just got to tell enough people that I'm gonna do it, just like you, and then I'll get back up there. I've been focusing on this podcast so much, trying to get it rolling and, make sure that I have episodes for it. So that's been where my main focus has been recently. But I had an interview a while back. I can't remember who this quote goes to, but he said the goal of stand-up comedy is kind of to get to be that person that you are in your living room joking around with your friends on stage. But, that sounds very simple. But when you step up there on stage, a lot of times something switches and you're like, hey, I got to perform and be like Rodney Dangerfield or something like that. Or your favorite comic that you just saw perform.
Yeah, it is tough. There's some people that have a character that they play up there. You know what I mean? There's some people that want to get away from who they are. It's not me, but there's some people who want to get away from who they actually are. And so they play a character up there. And then there's some people that just want to be themselves, and and that quote is 100% what it is. It's a matter of when I write, the things I write down are the things that make me laugh alone in my room. Okay. You know what I mean? That's the stuff I write down, and the stuff that makes me laugh alone in my room is the things that I try to build on. And that's basically how I go. Everybody else's process is different though.
All right, man. What is your writing process like? Is there anything that inspires you to write more than anything else?
I think it's not anything I can control, really. It's the times that I write the most is I'm usually at a bar, and I'm usually sitting there, and there's energy that's around me that kind of inspires me to think faster. The music's playing, the TVs are on, people are having conversations. And that inspires me to want to write. It's hard for me to actually write in my room by myself. I can come up with an idea, but I can't write a whole, I can't write a whole joke alone in my room. I can write a concept in my, but I can't, okay. I got to be out, and build on that. I mean, like I said, everybody's process is different. Mine is just observation. I observe something and I'll write it down, or I'll hear somebody say something and I'll write it down,
All right, very cool, man. So when I met you the other night, it was, as I was saying in the intro, it was a showcase at the Layover in Oakland. And you told me that you've been doing stand-up for about 3 years, correct?
A little over 3 years, yeah.
A little over 3 years. All right, man. So in that time, you said your first show was a big high. What was one of your biggest bombs? What made you want to come back from that?
It wasn't I'm not gonna be. I see a lot of comedians will say they've never bombed. Some comedians I bomb, I never bomb this and that. And I'm not gonna say I've never bombed, but what I'm gonna say is that I've had learning experiences.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's what it is. I've done something where I go, I know this can work, because I've tried it and I've continued to try it. I've never scrapped anything. So it's something that I didn't say it correctly, or maybe I drank too much before the show, or maybe you know what I mean? I feel like bombing is learning experience. It's not really failing to me,
Yeah, definitely.
This comedy, it's hit or miss, no matter who you are. You could be Dave Chappelle, you know what I mean? You could be anybody. And sometimes
Dave Chappelle never misses.
There's been times that Dave Chappelle has not had a good set, man.
I'm sure there is, man. I was just being a smart ass, man. I apologize.
But I know what you mean, but I know what you're saying, because it's Dave Chappelle, and it's anything he says is funny. But I guarantee you, it's for every comedian, there's just been times where you're just off that day. You know what I mean? You could say a joke that's murdered 100 times, and one day you're just not on your game, and you say it and it doesn't come out right, and people don't respond to it, the way you expect. And that's the beautiful thing about, and I was talking with a friend the other day about it, and I was saying, because I used to play high school football, and I loved high school football, and I said that comedy is so much like football. It's on one play you can score 80-yard touchdown, and on the very next play you can get your head taken off.
Very
you know
true.
what I mean? It doesn't, and you got to get up and go do it again, and that's how it is.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually listening to this one podcast today. It's actually a School of Greatness with Lewis House, but he was talking to this one
Yeah,
person, and they were talking about having to being okay, feeling pain, and moving with it,
yeah,
like an optimist aspect. And one of their examples was a stand-up comic. Like,
yeah,
a stand-up comic has to be all right with taking a lot of pain because they're going to get up there and jokes are not going to land. And, the goal is to get like a laugh every 15 seconds, and you got to go out there and make a crowd want to laugh, which for a lot of people is a terrifying thing, being up doing public speaking. But
yeah.
just getting up there and trying out new material, letting it fall, pick it back up and reshape it and mold it and put it and present it again, that takes a special something right there.
It does.
And I can see your relation to high school football because I played football as well. But one play you get knocked
Yeah.
down, you get up, then you knock somebody else down.
It's 100%. That's exact. The comparison is very believable because, like you said, man, it's like you can kill them 100 times, man, and then there'd be that one time that it just doesn't work, and then you're not gonna quit after that because you know what, you got, tomorrow, you got another set tomorrow, or you got, what I mean, like you can't be like, oh, I'm done, or another play or vice versa. Like I don't know, it's a very good comparison, very good comparison.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously then you can't let your head just hang low after that. You got to get back up and do it. And I think that's kind of the message of this. And part of me is saying the whole Dave Chappelle never bombs type thing or never has an off night is because a lot of people that just like watch, say, Dave Chappelle and see him on TV or whatever only see their on nights. That's the only thing that's televised. So, there's that other side.
Exactly.
Even Dave Chappelle, I don't know if I'd say he bombs anymore, but there's nights where his jokes aren't hitting as much as he would like them to.
Yeah, that's that. I 100%. I believe that, and I think that's why he goes to a lot of places and he'll sit there for 3 hours, 2 hours, and he'll do a set because he's working stuff out, and not everything will hit, but it's a workout, man. You got to go to the gym and practice that. Steph Curry had to go to that gym and miss a lot of threes before he started making those threes. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, definitely, man. All of it takes work, and that's the unfun part.
Exactly.
So, unfortunately, people won't be able to check this out when they're hearing this if they haven't seen it already. But I saw that you have a show actually coming up this Friday. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it's with a person that's been on HBO, Conan, Late Show.
Oh yeah. I'll be opening for Brendan Walsh this Friday at Sally Tomatoes in Roanoke Park. Yeah.
All right, very cool, very cool. So, when you go to open up for a big national act, is your mindset different than, say, if you were going to do the show that I saw, for instance, at the Layover?
I'd say no, because I don't feel like I'm chasing my true self no matter what.
Okay.
So I'd say no. You know what I mean? Because I feel like my true self is where I want to be. So no matter where I'm at, that's what I'm chasing. So I won't adjust my, you know what I mean? Anything, or I just want to be myself up there. And that's what I know. And that's all I know. That's really how I go. Shit. I mean, I can't be anybody else up there because I don't do the character, thing. So I got me,
Yeah, you don't get up there and do the Larry the Cable Guy thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
That would be kind of funny to see you do that, though. But
I may do that one day. I may get up there and do Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh man, the funny thing is that is a character. The real guy that does it, he is not Larry the Cable Guy. He's a regular person.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, and like, I think he's a funny dude, man, and what sucks is that it's kind of if you do a character up there, you're stuck in it. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't go up there and be like, hey, my name is Kyle. Like, I'm not Larry the Cable Guy. People like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who this dude is. People like, where's the cutoff? You know, where the cutoff shirts? Where's the? You kind of stick yourself in that. But I'd say at the end of the day, I mean, making it as that is better than not making it at all.
Oh, definitely. I agree 100%. Unless eventually you get to the point where you're like, God, I really hate this character and you can't escape it. Like, then it could work the reverse effect on you after a while. But for the most part, I think that you're right. Making it as a character opposed to yourself would be better than not even going out there and doing it or not even making it, period.
Exactly. I mean, it's I don't know, like that's what I think of. You know, it's like people that make fun of like one hit wonders, and it's like, yeah, they might only had one hit, but at least they fucking had one hit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's
How many hits did you have?
you know what I mean? That's true. That's what I feel like. It's like if that's what it takes for you to get on, man, then more power to you. To me, like, you know, I will never knock anybody for their hustle or anything that they try to do. You know, so like it's not me and it's not what I would do. You know, but I mean, I respect it, and if that's what takes you to get on, get on. But I mean, it's tough to go back from that. I mean, Steve Urkel could never be anything other than fucking Steve Urkel, you know, for the rest of his life.
Very true.
You know,
Just like Screech from Saved by the Bell. You know, even though he's out doing stand up now, he's Screech whenever anybody sees him. I know in Family Matters, they did try to give like Steve Urkel the cool alter persona or whatever, just to try. I don't know if that was like planning ahead to be like, okay, we're going to try to get you something so you can play something other than got any cheese or.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he pitched that idea for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. He was like, I'm trying to get some pussy and I can't get any pussy as Steve Urkel.
Like, nobody wants to hook up with Urkel. Did I do that?
Nobody. Exactly.
And I don't know how I'm doing on the impersonation, but I'm actually kind of nasally right now, like sinus wise. So maybe that helps. But yeah, so
that was pretty on point.
All right. That's what I like to hear. Do you do any impersonations or anything, or are you just?
I do some impersonations, but they're not like any good. I'm not like I'm not, you know, Jay Farrow or anybody, but I mean, I do some like iconic impersonations, you know. They have to be somebody that's particular that I'll do, you know, like, but I'm not, that's not really my,
all right.
I kind of throw it into the set, like you know what I mean? It's not like, hey, I'm about to do an impersonation. It's like, I'll be in the middle of a joke and I'll say a tagline like a person, you know what I mean, or something like that.
Okay, so who are some of the people who have made it into your set as an impersonation?
I've done, to be truthful, I've only done two, and that's that is Tracy Morgan.
Okay.
And it's a comedian by the name of T.K. Kirkland. And he goes by T to the motherfucking K, and it's a really old school comedian, and he's got some iconic like quotes that people that know him know. When I do it, they know exactly who I'm talking about. So it's really kind of like a personal thing that only certain people who know who he is would know.
Okay. The name does sound somewhat familiar to me, but I don't know. Like, I remember back in the day when I'd want to watch stand up. The only place that had stand-up on was BET's Comic View for the longest time. And that name sounds like it's familiar from there, but I could be wrong.
Oh, yeah, he was on there. No, he was on Comic View. He's on Def Jam. Like, T.K. Kirkland's, he's done it. He's done it all. I mean, he's done everything you would want to do as a stand-up comedian aside from, I don't know, you know, have a special on whatever people want. You know what I mean? T.K. Kirkland's a very polished comedian, you know. His style is a little different. He's more of like a seminar, like a lesson type of style.
Okay, how so?
I just, because he the way he talks to people, it's almost like he's teaching them. You know what I mean? Like it's a style of he's teaching you how to be a better person or a better pimp or a better hoe, or you know what I mean? Like his style
okay.
is he thinks he's a pimp. So it's his style is different, and I grew up off of black comedians, so like it's something I grew up in. So his taglines are iconic, So it's in me to like sometimes I'll say it that way, and then only certain people know who I'm talking about when I do it. But I don't know. It's not really even for them. It's for me because it just
Okay.
comes out of me. I can't really control it. Yeah.
I gotcha, man. Yeah, it's also cool when I'm sure it is cool when the people in the audience do get it because you know that they know what you're talking about. Can you tell when somebody's laughing because of the tag and the voice, or just laughing because what you said was funny?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I can separate who's laughing just because of the way I said it's funny, and who's laughing because they know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, the whole nostalgic laugh, like oh.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So, along with him, like, who influenced your comedy growing up?
Who influenced? Most importantly, no lie, it would be well. What made me want to be a stand-up comic was I went when I was about 19. I went to the Paramount in Oakland and I watched Jamie Foxx do "I Might Need Security," his like pretty much only comedy special, and I saw talent like with my own like true talent with my own eyes. And a lot of people don't think of Jamie Foxx as a stand-up comedian, but that's like one of the most talented people we've set our eyes on. Like people like really want
Definitely.
to look at it. You know what I mean? Like and I saw that in person in like row 4. Like you know what I
Oh
mean? And
wow.
and it was amazing. And at that I saw that and that made me go like I want to be that. I want to be that free. I want to be that person. And I mean, I've never been on because Jamie Foxx is on 24/7. I don't know if you see a lot of interviews and he's on. Like it's a constant like he's got it all day long. And watching that made me love the art of performing, but
Okay.
like he's not like my favorite stand-up comedian. You know what I mean? Like I growing up, I love Dave Chappelle. I love
Of
Patrice
course.
O'Neill. You know, like and
Yeah.
Patrice O'Neill is somebody that I chase that's 100%. It's the freeness to say whatever the fuck he wants to, man. Like I don't think people do that, and I don't think right now in this world in 2018 you can do that. I don't know if Patrice O'Neill could actually be a stand-up comic in 2018. To be honest, like it's the way this world is and how PC it is, man. And like I see it a lot in San Francisco, and it's like it's so many fucking like just jokes that like it's like this shit is funny, but these people are so scared to laugh, man. Like, and it's comedy where comedy comes from. It's we're supposed to say the things that you're scared to say, and I think
Yeah.
that it's getting away from that. It's really getting away from that, and it's going to a place that I'm not enjoying really.
Yeah. I agree with that completely.
It's I don't know, I don't know, man. It's about freedom of speech, man. Like that's what I feel like this got started, and it's about speaking your mind and your point of view. And I think that the world doesn't like other people's point of view, personal point of views. They want everybody to have the same thought, and
Mm-hmm.
that's almost like that's somewhat like kind of like V for Vendetta shit, like kind of in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like everybody's got to have this sort of like the same thought, and everybody's got to move this certain way, and everybody's got to. And it's like, what? No, we're all individuals. Like we gotta think us our own way, and we have to express that on sometimes on stage, and like and it's like if you don't like what I'm saying, then don't come to a comedy show, man. I'm not, like you want to write my material, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I feel like sometimes. Like tell me what the fuck you want me to say, like it's kind of
Yeah, so when I moved out here, I did some stand up. I was living in Berkeley. I'm originally from the Midwest. I'm originally from Iowa.
yeah.
So when I came out here, people were like, "Oh man, it's probably such a culture shock for you out here, see all sorts of different people and gay people and everything like that." And it was like,
Yeah.
dude, first of all, like I lived in like Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area. There's quite a bit of diversity there. It's a college
Yeah.
town. It's a lot like Berkeley in a way, just smaller. And then about the gay comment, I was like, did you know Iowa is actually the second state in the nation to legalize gay marriage? Like about 4 years before California did. All right, now
Yeah.
continue on. But I made a joke. I was like, what really is the main culture shock about moving out here to California is two things. All right, one, the price of housing out here is just ridiculous. That was a shock and a half. I rented a room in Berkeley for the same price that I rented a 2-bedroom, 1 and 3/4 bath in the Midwest. And then I was like,
Yep.
all the bums out here were kind of a culture shock. You know, you have some, don't get me wrong, there's bums in like Iowa, but you don't see them shitting in the streets. And then they also have attitude because I told somebody I didn't have any money and a bum actually told me to take my broke ass home. And somebody, yeah, actually,
The irony in there, right?
he was wearing some plastic gold chain to look Flava Flavish.
Ran into a fly bum.
Then after that show, I had somebody come up to me and be like, you know what you said would have been funnier if instead of bums, you said homeless people?
Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely, completely wrong. It's funnier with bums.
Yeah.
Homeless people doesn't ruffle any feathers. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make anybody uncomfortable. It doesn't make anybody like. It makes you like, okay, I can sit here. That's appealing to me. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. That was about my.
That's 100%. Somebody one day will say saying bum is like saying the N-word, and I'm like, no, it's not. like, you know what I mean? They'll say that
Yeah.
one day. Somebody will say that one day.
I am sure. And you know what I found interesting? I heard that, you know the term Good Samaritan?
Yep.
Samaritan used to be a derogatory term. It means you're like sub-merit or something like that. But they're like, oh, that's a good Samaritan.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, dude. Fuck, man. This is where I'm at, man. And this is where it's tough out there, man. You know, and that's why a lot of comedians don't do a lot of college shows, you know, like, and everything, because like this world is just so. And I don't want to use the word, like, people loosely use the like liberal, like, oh, everybody's so liberal, and it's not really that. It's just people fall in line. I think this world is so full of like just fall in line. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, everybody else is offended by this, so now I'm offended by this. And you know, like we don't have this whole we're running away from like individual thoughts. And it's like, yeah, like you go to LA and like you got everybody who like in LA who's walking around like, oh, I'm so eccentric, this and that. And it's like, no, you're not. You look like those 12 people at that fucking like cafe right there. You know what I mean? You're not really that different. You know what I mean? Like at all. Like stop thinking you're so different, you know? And it's
Yeah, definitely, man. I don't know. I think part of it is too, everybody like nowadays seems to want to be the victim of something. Like, he offended me. I can't believe he did that. I am so morally superior, or something along those lines. So I follow exactly what you're saying on that. And I'm glad I went to college when I did, before people necessarily started saying all that stuff, because I actually got to see Kevin Hart at my college before he was huge.
Yeah, that's big, and that's fucking. I mean, you probably seen a completely different Kevin Hart.
He was a little bit different, but you could tell that he definitely had his like set together. He was ready to take that next step at that point. It wasn't too long afterwards, but
Yeah.
you know, it was cool. Like, it was like 10 students watching him. And it wasn't even a big auditorium or anything like that. It was like they like closed down a section of the cafeteria and put up a stage. But at least there was a stage.
Yeah. I mean, hey, college crowds are rough sometimes. You don't know how they're going to turn out.
Yeah, I could see them either being awesome or horrible, barely in between. You know, rarely ever. And it's probably an extreme or another. But, oh man. I don't know. I guess I could talk about people like stepping on free speech all day or whatever, or what's wrong with this world or whatever. But
we could, man. I don't know. There's probably a lot of podcasts that talk about that, cover that. So
do you want to solve the world's problems today, Mo? let's just hash it out.
Not in an hour. I don't know if we could in an hour. That's for
No,
sure.
no, probably not. Probably not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. One of the things that's wrong, I'll throw this out, then we'll move on. It's the way the news is. Whether you're a Fox News supporter or a CNN supporter or whatever you listen to, it basically makes it so you can go and listen to the opinion that makes you feel comfortable. So,
Yeah.
you know, and you don't get any real news. You get stuff that makes you feel comfortable or scared, so you tune in later. But, you know, I think that's a huge thing. Nobody hears. Walter Cronkite would be pissed.
Yeah, that's exactly. Hey, man, that's a great point, man. That's really what it is. I mean, I feel like, yeah, that's what politics are. I mean, I feel like politics are just what you're comfortable with. Nobody likes anything that's not on board with what they're thinking or their thoughts. You know, and like they don't want to hear any other point of view. They don't want to hear any other. It's just about what I'm thinking. And if they're right in line with what they're thinking, yeah, that's it. That's truly what's going on right now, you know? And that's yeah, you're right. People can just tune in to whatever they want to hear, and then it'll just feed them whatever that is, you know? And that's what's stuck in their brain.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go listen to all the pro-Trump or anti-Trump, whichever one makes you feel all fancy inside.
Yep. Which is how it shouldn't be. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I feel like information should be information and it shouldn't be divided that way. You know what I mean? Like that's not how the world works.
Exactly. News has turned into entertainment, really. It's like, you know, the whole if
100%.
it bleeds, it leads. And then also, like, what can we say about the other side to make this people more magnetized towards us or whatever, you know? I don't know. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's real shit.
I don't have a solution.
I mean, I got a solution, but I mean, I'm gonna need 8 years. I'm gonna need 2 terms to get to it.
What year are you running? Mo Gordon for president.
Oh no, man! I've done way too much as a kid to be able to go be president, man.
But you know, that's, I don't know. I think that's what it needs. Somebody who's actually done like too much stuff and just open with it right at the beginning of it. Yeah, I did this, I did that, I did that. Don't have to worry about me hiding crap. Here we go. You know?
Shit, I think we're going through that right now. To be honest with you.
You know, okay, I hear that, but in a different. I think he's going about that kind of. I don't know, not necessarily the right way in a way. You know, it's like he's more vindictive about it too. Like I'm just saying, be like, you know, if you ran for office and you did some crap in your past, I'm not saying necessarily grab a woman by the vagina or whatever, but but you know, smoke a little weed, get in a little trouble as a kid, whatever kids do. They should be open about it.
I think the world is way too judgmental for that, man. I think people want somebody in power that they feel is better than them. You know,
Yeah.
So like if I go in high school, I used to, you know, smoke, you know, blunts, skip class and smoke blunts, and then there's somebody who's like, oh, I used to do that too. Like they're you know what I mean? They're thinking we're on the same level, and I feel like people want someone that they feel like is better than them, that makes better decisions than them. Now, I don't know necessarily what happened in this last election, other than like maybe they just convinced a whole bunch of middle America that, you know what I mean? Like whatever he was pumping was right, or whatever he was talking was correct. But for some reason, they all felt like that guy was a better person than them, and he was going to make smarter decisions than them, and his ideas were on point with their ideas. And I feel like that's where we are. And that's how, if you really look back on it, that's how all presidents are chosen.
Yeah, you got a valid point there.
Think about Clinton. Like Clinton, everybody loved Clinton until Clinton got a blowjob in the Oval Office. And then it brought him down to everyone else's a regular person level.
Yeah.
Like, because he's just a regular person, but it brought him down in everyone else's eyes to a regular person level, to where people started pointing their fingers at him. We're just like, dude, like, I mean, he's just like, he is what most married men are. Like most married men are down to get their dick sucked in the Oval Office by their secretary, right? I mean, like it is what it is.
And I think part of it was, if it was like a supermodel level like chick, nobody would have been as upset about it. Because look at JFK and Marilyn Monroe. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, that was going on. I think what actually brought him down to the average person level, as you say it, he did it with an average woman. Like,
yeah.
If he would have, like, it wasn't like rock star sex, you know? It was.
Yeah, you're saying it. Yeah, I got what you're saying. You're saying if Bill Clinton had hooked up with Sidney Crawford in the Oval Office and people found out, it wouldn't have been as bad.
It would have been. It would have been expected. Okay, there's our president hooking up with a hot chick. I think some people might have been proud of him or something like that. But now it's like. You're looking at it as like, man, that's the best our president can do.
Because that would have been upper echelon shit. 100%, man. I think that's what you got a good point. That would have been upper echelon shit. He hooked up with a chick that looks like she works at fucking Walmart, and people had a problem with that. Yeah, for sure. It brought him down to a regular person level.
Exactly.
And he stopped. And that's what it is. Yeah, it's a good point.
All right, man. All right. So let's just roll on with the second half part of the show here. I don't even know how to transition from where we were, so I'm just going to roll with it here. All right. So, like, in your 3 years of doing stand-up, like, what advice have you come across that either you wish you would have known when you started out, or that you learned along the way that you'd care to share with somebody who is looking to get started out doing stand-up?
100% the lesson is, it's not about how funny you are.
Okay, what's it about?
It's about your networking. It has nothing to do with how funny you are. It has everything to do with your networking.
Okay, so what do you do for networking? Like, how do you grow your network?
I'm gonna be honest, as I don't, man. I'm horrible at networking, and that's like my thing. Something I have to get better at is like I'm like sometimes socially awkward, and like people don't get that, and like they think I'm joking about it. But there's times where I'm super socially awkward where I don't want to say anything to anybody, and then there's times where I could be everybody's best friend in the room, like I don't know how to turn it off and turn it on. So a lot of times I just let me be me, and I might come off sort of distant, you know what I mean, or something like that, like to people. And I mean, I don't know if I rub people the wrong way or whatever it is, but like it's tough for me to walk up to someone and try to get to know them on a business level other than a personal level. You know what I mean? Because like that's what it's about. Comedy is about a business, and you're really just networking and you're mingling, and it's tough for me. It was so much easier for me to go to a bar and just meet like 12 people. You know what I mean? Like so much easier for me. I don't know why, but it just is. Because there's no other agenda behind it. You know what I mean? Like there's no I'm just meeting people and being myself, like, and I don't. It's tough for me to go sell myself, kind of, in a way. And I feel like that's what comedy is about, is you got to kind of mingle and kind of sell yourself in a way. And I mean, yeah, you got to be funny, like to a certain extent, obviously. But I mean, really, it's not it. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like
that actually makes a lot of sense, though. Because I don't know what it is about creative types where like a lot of them feel like cheap when they're trying to promote themselves. Like, they'll talk to anybody,
Yeah.
they'll promote other people, they'll talk about other people's stuff, but when they talk about themselves, and like, I know people are like, oh, well, people talk about themselves all the time that are in the entertainment industry. Some of them. But you know, it's different when you switch to feel more salesy. You know, like, I'll talk to somebody conversationally about my podcast, but when I'm trying to like sell it to them, I feel like, you know, I should be wearing a plaid or checkered jacket, slinging used cars on the weekends. You know, like with the two guns and a wink type thing. But yeah, I feel what you're saying, man. I feel what you're saying.
Dude, you couldn't have said it any better than the way you just said it. It kind of makes you feel cheap, and it shouldn't, because that's this business is you got to sell yourself. You know what I mean? But it that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like I'm I feel icky. I feel really icky when I walk up to people I don't know, like, hey, what's up? My name is Mo Gordon, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's different, you know? Like, it's you know what? It's almost kind of like this. This is how I would compare it to. It's almost kind of like you're at a bar and there's the hottest chick in the bar, and you've seen 13 guys walk up to her and try to talk to her. And now you're going to try to go be the 14th. You know what I mean? Like, It's kind of like I don't fucking want to do this shit. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like, oh, here was
it's my turn to get
rejected.
Like,
and it's like, exactly, you know? And it just makes me feel a certain type of way, to where sometimes I just go like, fuck it. I'll just sit here in the corner and kind of be to myself. And I can't be that way. I have to, like, you have to be able to network in comedy.
Exactly. And I think that goes across all of like entertainment and maybe even all of business. I don't know. But the thing is, though, what you got to remember or think about is, a lot of times when you're feeling salesy, it's not always coming across as that to people, but a lot of times it just comes across as telling them about what you do. You know, I heard somebody say, like, within the first 30 seconds of meeting somebody, they should know what you do.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a stand-up comedian, they should know you're a stand-up comedian. Like, vegans do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, they do, don't they?
Hi, I'm Samantha, and I'm a vegan.
Yeah. Anybody in CrossFit? Anybody? Yeah,
yes, CrossFit and vegans, man. They're
will let you know. Or anybody that's like doing microbrew in their garage. 100% they'll let you know within the first.
Yes, exactly, man. All right. So besides networking and feeling salesy, what are you doing to help promote yourself?
Other than social media, like, I just try to get out there, man. Like, I'm old school. Like, I hit the pavement. Like, I no lie, within the first, like, my 3 years, I was an alcoholic, dude. And I'd go, it's like, I had a good friend of mine who's from Astoria, Oregon. Okay. And he did this thing. He's not a comedian, but he does this thing, what he calls loopers. And what a looper is you go to a bar in a neighborhood, in area. He does this in Portland all the time. He'd go to a bar, he'd chill, and he'd have one drink, and he'd say at least 3 people he doesn't know. And then he'll have that drink, and then he'll leave. And then he'll go to another bar, and he'll have one drink, meet 3 people. You know, and we used to do this when he lived down here, and I thought about applying that to comedy. So what I did was I started doing loopers in the area I live in. So I'd go to a bar, I'd have one drink, I'd meet 3 or 4 people, tell them I did stand-up comedy, they should come out. And then I'd go to another bar, I have one drink. You know what I mean? And then, like, I mean, I turned me kind of into a fucking alcoholic, but but I met a lot of people, and I've met a lot of, like, friends and a lot of acquaintances, and a lot of people that come to my shows, you know, now. And I mean, they still, to this day, you know, they'll be there tomorrow night, you know, and it's it was so much easier for me to network that way, because I don't feel like they weren't a part of the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was so much easier to go about it that way. And I just found a method somebody taught me, and I just kind of applied it to a different game, really.
All right, yeah, I imagine it's got to be two different types of networking, man. Business networking and networking with potential fans, and they're both like they're the same but different in a way, I'm sure.
It's completely different because there's no really hidden agenda. I'd invite them, and it's like, you can come if you don't, but I'm gonna fucking drink this drink and I'm gonna fucking believe, you know? It's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? There was really no hidden agenda. It was just like, hey, I'm here, I'm meeting some people, and there wasn't a give and take like mentality there. Like it was really just like a straight up, like, I'm kind of here for 20 minutes. I'm gonna have this drink. I'm gonna meet some people. And then, I'm going to leave, and I'll tell them what I do. If they think I'm funny, like, you know what I mean? I can come off as myself. And then eventually at the end of that, tell them, oh, by the way, I do stand up. I'll be performing here. You guys should come out.
Okay.
And it was just a different mentality that a method that I applied to a different world. That was really all it was.
So with the looper technique, like how do you do it? Obviously, you go in, get a drink. Do you sit up at the bar and talk to who's next to you? Do you look for a group of people to go join? Or, like, what is your technique at picking your targets while you're looping?
My technique is sometimes I'll go sit at the bar and I'll just start talking to the person next to me. Or if there's a group of people, because, like, it's almost like kind of when I write, it's like I'm listening to, like, 3 different conversations that are going on while I'm writing. You know what I mean? So, like, it's almost kind of like I'll listen to somebody's conversation, and a lot of times I'll be able to kind of just like comment on that. And I'm like, oh, hey, oh, by the way, I know, you know what I mean? Oh, you guys just came back from, such and such or whatever. Like, and then we'll start a conversation. And then that allows me to be myself and like give them my personality. And then if I have these people laughing, like, that's when I roll into, oh, by the way, so it's not kind of like, hey, how are you guys doing? My name is Mo Gordon. You guys should come to my show. Then people are like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Kind of in a way, It's
exactly.
Like, you gotta bring that at the end. It's just being a salesman, but it's just kind of being it in a sneaky way. Kind of in a way. Like, like right. It really what it is. Yeah.
All right, man. That's cool. I'll have to try the looper technique at some point. I think you could even do that in the line at the grocery store. Just start talking to people there. And I actually got one of my guests for the show in line at the grocery store. Rocky Peter. He was on American Idol. And I don't know what number episode he is right off the top of my head, but he was at Safeway in the Bay Area. And I don't know. He was singing to himself. I said something. He made a joke about, or actually it was my girlfriend that made a joke about the 4 things of ice cream that I was holding. And we got talking, and he's like, I got a track on iTunes. I was like, oh yeah, I got a podcast. It's on iTunes. And just went from there, like set up an interview. It had a really amazing story. If you haven't checked out that episode yet, I'd say to give it a listen, because he's got a pretty amazing story, including being homeless, being enslaved in Africa as a child, and then hitting American Idol and turning things around. So it's an impressive story how much he had to overcome. Yeah. But
I'll check that out one time.
Yeah, man. Now, what would be a highlight or two that you would care to share with the Uncontained audience?
Comedy wise, or just in like life?
Either one. It could be comedy wise, but 1 or 2 really cool things that happened to you. I'm not asking for the highlight, but just a couple highlights.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The biggest highlight of my life was, is comedy. But I mean, like growing up, there wasn't many highlights I had, to be honest. I was in a foster home from 13 to 18, man. Like there wasn't huge highlights in my life.
Okay.
You know what? The biggest thing that happened to me as a kid is I was a really good I wouldn't say really good. That's like patting myself on the back.
Go ahead, pat yourself on the back.
I was a pretty good high school football player,
All
I'd
right.
say.
All right.
And so like like things that happen to me is like write-ups in the paper, like San Francisco Chronicle, like things like that.
Very cool.
Like like as a teen, like those were the biggest things, like the highlights of my life growing up.
All right. What would be one from on stage?
But on stage,
Maybe not necessarily on stage, but comedy related.
I have to say, man, like really like the first time, man, like just doing comedy, like because everybody like you've done comedy, so
Yeah.
like the nerves before you actually get on stage.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like before you act your first time, it's like you thought about it for so long, and then it's like it's finally there, and like literally getting on stage was like the toughest thing to me. But like it was once I was up there, like every single worry went away, and I found what I was supposed to be doing.
Once
Like,
you
no
get that
lie.
first laugh, man, it's like, okay, I can do this.
It was the greatest feeling. It was I can't describe the feeling. Like it's almost like probably hitting your first hit of like crack. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up.
It is such a high.
Yeah.
It is such a high once you like are on that stage. So I can see what you mean. I've never smoked
Yeah.
crack or meth or anything like that.
Neither have I, man. Neither have I, man. But I'm gonna assume that is what it's like, and that I feel like the first time I got on stage that high, and I'm still chasing. I haven't even felt that yet. Like I'm still chasing that. I get it. Like heroin addicts, they're still chasing that. What is it? That purple dragon, that pink dragon, whatever they're
Something
chasing.
like that. Some colored dragon.
Yeah.
Or is that heroin? Or I don't
Is that
know.
what it is?
Shit,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
Something
still
about
chasing-
a
I'm
white
still
pony
chasing
or riding the dragon.
Yeah. I'm still chasing that. I don't know. Maybe I'd have to like do a show at the fucking Madison Square Garden or some shit, like to feel that again. But I'm still chasing whatever that first time high, man. And that was big to me. That was something big to me because if you knew me before I did comedy, you would have said you could never see me up there. And most people would say that. You know what I mean? Like they knew I
Yeah.
was funny, but they'd say like you'd never see me actually, they could never see me on stage doing that. And to break through that, and that like it was amazing, man. And like that's the biggest highlight of my life. Like really, like I can't, like I'm sorry I don't have anything like bigger than that to like give you. You know what I'm
It's all
saying?
good, dude.
Like
the first time on stage, man, that's a big thing. So I'm sure once you break to another level, you'll have like another epiphany and another rush of that giant dopamine hit.
yeah, man. It's I don't know, man. It's stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedians are a special breed, and I feel like I don't think they get enough credit. I don't think we do, man. And it's something that I feel like, and I'm sure it happens to you, is like you tell people that you do stand-up comedy, and then they always go, oh, well, I always wanted to do it, or, oh, I think I could do it, or I this
Yeah.
and that. And it's like, and no lie, I can name you about 10 people I've talked into going to an open mic. In like you were saying, like in line at like Safeway or this grocery store you're talking about. We were, me and a bunch of friends of mine were going to go see Chris D'Elia at Cobb's last year,
Okay.
and we were in line, and there was this couple that was in front of us, and I started having a conversation with them, and his wife started saying how he always wanted to do stand-up, this and that, he loved it, and then I told him that I did it, and I literally talked that dude into meeting me at the Brainwash Cafe, and doing open mic, dude. Like no lie, man. It was,
Awesome.
and it's like that's fulfilling as well. You know what I'm saying? To like actually like help somebody like get over their fears of like something. Like, and that's a pretty big thing for me. To motivate people. Like that's my biggest word. That's what I live by is to motivate.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So now my next part of the questions is, what do you want like the people who comes see you to take away from your show? What do you want them to remember about your performance? Anything?
Yeah, I do, man. I want them to believe that this is what I'm speaking is truth, and I want them to speak truth, but at the same time I want them to learn something from what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But more than anything, man, is I want them to truly, like, I don't know, I want people to be themselves, man. Like, I feel like in this world, like we talked about this earlier in the podcast,
Yeah.
man. Like, and like, I want people, like, people fall in line way too much, man. Like, and I don't think there are many individuals running around this world. And I feel like I want people to just be themselves, man. And so I'm trying to show people that it's okay to be yourself. You know, like, it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be awkward. It's okay to be socially awkward. You know, like, we all are individuals, man. And I want to go up there and show them that it's okay to just be, if you want to do some weird shit, I do weird shit all the time when I'm on stage, you know, like, it's okay to be fucking weird, dude. I'm a weird dude, you know, like, so.
Yeah, exactly. I do weird stuff, did weird stuff on stage, and I still do it off stage. I don't know. I walk around like talking in different voices and stuff like that. You know, I always thought it was normal until somebody told me it was weird.
Exactly, you know, but it's just weird to them because they don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what does it. It doesn't make it weird just because they don't do it. It's actually normal. What is weird? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think weird is a real word. I think normal is everything. Normal is everything, because there's nothing you could say to me or show me that I'd be like, really? Wow. I'd be like, yeah, all right, I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much. Like there's nothing you could show me that will surprise me. Like, no lie.
Fair enough. I'm not even going to try to surprise you right now. We'll just roll with it. I'll take your word on that. But part of me wants to be like, how can I make him say, wow, really?
Hey, man, like, there's not much, man. I just read in the paper that a guy broke into prison so he could hang out with his friends. Like, there's nothing that will ever surprise me. You know what I mean?
That made my jaw drop just a little bit, but it's like, well, yes, people are stupid.
This world is a funny place.
All right. You said you wanted people to learn something. You wanted people to be weird. What is a way that you try to make sure that point comes across in your stand-up?
Is random by the randomness. I like to just I like to do jokes in between. I like the silence. A lot of people don't embrace the silence in between jokes and stuff. I like to embrace the silence, and a lot of times it makes people laugh.
Okay,
you know, like because a lot of comedians just want to keep talking because they don't want dead air out there. But I like to sometimes embracing the silence is, you don't have to say something to make people laugh. You know what I mean? You can just give a face.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, you could just give a face or just a look or you know what I mean? Anything that'll have people laughing just as hard as you as a punchline. And that's, I enjoy that. The weird, the awkward, like, stuff. That's something I try to embrace, because that's me. You know what I mean? I'm a super weird, awkward guy.
That's actually some good advice right there too. Embrace the silence.
I did a benefit show in Santa Rosa for Redwood Empire Food Bank or whatever.
Okay.
And it was at the Arlene Francis Center. And I get up on stage, call my name, I get up on stage. As soon as I pull the mic out of the stand, the cord falls out. And immediately everybody starts laughing, right? And I don't know what it was. It wasn't planned, but immediately in my head, I thought, go into your set, but don't say anything. So I went into mouthing my set. You know what I mean? So it was complete silence, and then for the first 3 minutes, I was doing my set, but not saying anything. And people were still laughing like I was doing my set. So it was the silence. They embraced the awkwardness in that. And I kind of rolled with the awkwardness. And it's kind of like, it frees people up to like that it's okay, like, you know what I mean, like, and I don't know, it's the silence, dude. I embrace the silence, dude. Like it's a cool thing to me. Like it's a power to me. It's like it gives me power because I'm controlling everything. I can say something when I want to, or I can be silent when I want to, you know. And it's kind of a power move.
Very cool, man. Very cool. All right. I do have one final question for you, but before I get there, where can people find you on the internet? Where can people see you at your upcoming shows or whatnot? Just what's your corner of the internet, and where can people find you, Mo?
As of now, people can find me on Facebook at Mo Gordon. That's MoeGordon. They can find me there. I post all my shows, most of my shows on there. And more than anything, I'm not a huge Facebook person, but more than anything, people can find me on Instagram. That's where I post most of my shows, on Instagram. And that handle is at that's THE _ Mozone, MoeZone.
All right, at the Mozone and at Mo Gordon on Facebook. I will make sure I put those in my show notes so people can find you. And yeah, make sure you stop by, check out its page, check out shows, and
Definitely some anything funny stuff. I post some funny things, you know. I say some funny things, you know. It's a cool page. Definitely the Instagram page is a cool setup.
all right, yes, man. I've checked your Facebook out. I haven't made it to your Instagram yet. I'll have to check that out here after the show. So, Mo, I would like to thank you for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate you making your way onto the show. And I do have that one final question for you. It's the title question of the show. Mo Gordon, how do you live uncontained?
I live uncontained by being my true self, man. You know, at 100%. I try to be myself. You know, and I feel like we live in, like I said before, we live in a world where being an individual isn't cool anymore. You know, and people are falling in line, and so I feel like you can't contain me. You know, I 100%. I'm gonna be myself regardless, around whoever, you know, wherever, and that's me. You know, that's how I live my life.
Right on, man. It's short, sweet, simple, but you know, it's important. I think that's great, man. Being able to be yourself isn't always as easy as it sounds, but it should be. You know.
Yes, it should be. It should be the easiest thing.
Yeah, it should come naturally to you or something, like it's you. I don't get it, but all right. So thank you one more time for coming on the show. And before I let you out of here, I have one final thing for you to do, Mo. And that is
What's that?
that is sign off the show. Will you do me the honor of signing off the show?
Yes, I will. Everyone, I need you guys to listen up. I need you guys to be yourselves and come out and see some comedy and allow people to be themselves, man. And I am Mo Gordon, and I live uncontained.
And that does it for another episode of Uncontained. Thank you to Mo Gordon for joining me, and thank you for listening, tuning in, and supporting the show. And also, make sure that you check out Mo on social media, along with checking out uncontainedpod.com. And if you're looking to support the show, there is an Amazon banner link at the top of the page. And you can do what a lot of people have started doing, is joining my Patreon group and donating to the show. And you can find all the links to that at uncontainedpod.com, or you can find it on my Facebook page as well. So check that out. And please continue listening, spreading the word, doing what you're doing. If you feel inspired, please please leave that review on iTunes or the podcast player of your choice. Thank you once again, and until next time, live uncontained.